Welcome back to the Marketing Minute, where we take marketing trends, principles, and best practices and turn them into easy to digest segments that you can apply to your center's marketing. My name's Lauren Bell, and I have the privilege of being part of the Extend Web Services team. Extend is the digital marketing service of Heartbeat International, and my team has the pleasure of serving pregnancy help organizations around the country and around the globe. Today, we're diving into the cornerstone of your digital marketing, your website. Having an engaging, user-friendly website that effectively reaches your target audience is crucial for your organization's success. We'll cover practical strategies that enhance user experience and maximize outreach. Joining me today are Tim Stevens, our web and SEO specialist, and Jennifer Ellis, our customer support specialist. If you're an Extend customer, you've likely interacted with them, and their insights will be invaluable as we explore how to make your website a powerful tool for your organization. Let's jump in. Tim, let's start with you. You've built hundreds of pregnancy center sites and have extensive experience serving the pregnancy help movement. What are some key elements of user-friendly websites that organizations should focus on?
Yeah, one thing I've seen happen over the years is the pregnancy help movement, for a long time struggled to keep up with the trends in the digital realm as far as websites, as far as technologies and different strategies that are out there. One thing I'm really proud of the movement over the last few years is I've seen a lot of growth in that area. Um, Centers have come around not just to the idea of, okay, websites are a critical aspect of marketing, especially digital marketing, but having a quality website is key. There was a long time where we were doing these websites that, hey, we have our information up there, it was set it and forget it and move on. And now there's an understanding of there needs to be proactive steps, there needs to be proactive actions being taken on the website. So obviously you need to have an attractive website, you need to have something that is engaging to women that are coming across the site. That means having a nice, clean design, something that isn't overly cluttered, using quality colors, images, and having an overall message both through your content and visually that is uplifting, hopeful, not using the type of imagery that's going to kind of exasperate the issue. Also the content on your site, having good content that is appealing to them. You don't want just massive bulks of content. I know there's a desire to just get all your content out there and say, hey, we do all of this and we have this and here's our mission. But really having something that when they land on your website is engaging to them, and then they can find all that information. Of course, you'll have that stuff on your site, but really having something that all the elements combined is a nice, clean, straightforward layout that's understandable.
And that all really goes back to the user experience.
Mm-hmm.
So many of our users are um, very much have grown up in this sort of microwave climate where everything is accessible quickly at
Mm-hmm.
their fingertips. And so having a clear call to action on your website is also very important. Is that correct?
That is correct. So, and a call to action is anything on your site, whether it's a button, a clickable image, a link that is inviting users to take some sort of action. For instance, having something on your page that's inviting them to schedule an appointment, especially if you have an online scheduler, having something that's click here to schedule an appointment, that's inviting, that's something that they may be looking for right then and there. So that can be a very good conversion tool. But also, having things that are inviting them just simply contact you. It doesn't have to say, hey, if you're ready for this service, because maybe they're not ready for a particular service, but it says, hey, if you're, looking for help, if you need someone just to talk to right now, reach out to us, have something that's prominent for them, that's very quick to be recognized and seen on the site for women that are kind of have those blinders on or just looking for that immediate help. Yeah, call to actions are critically important to have on the site.
Jennifer, I know we get a lot of questions about colors and what colors are best for my website and my logo and my branding. What would you tell a client who's asking you about particular colors? What advice would you give to them?
They definitely want to stick with the colors in their branding. Their logo, we can pull the colors from their logo and use those across the site. Some of them may actually have a brand guide that we can work from, and they can actually send us the color codes so that we can include those on the site, but keeping it soft and appealing. We don't want harsh colors that are going to overwhelm her. The client that is looking for the center already is possibly feeling overwhelmed. So we want to keep it soft and welcoming.
Absolutely. And as always, every aspect of your marketing should point back to your mission and to your vision and to your target client. So those things always inform your marketing plan, along with your branding and your colors and your logo. A logo is another important aspect of your website, of those front end elements that make up the user experience for your client when she goes to your site. We see a lot of interesting logos in the pregnancy help world. We see a lot of great ones, and we see some maybe not so great ones. What are some key things that you feel a center should have in mind when designing a logo or having someone design their logo?
When we're looking at logos, especially on a client-facing website, and I think Tim will probably go into that a little bit more, the difference between a client-facing website and a supporter-facing website. You want something that represents the services that you provide, but isn't something that is going, like, for instance, a baby swaddled in a blanket. For a woman who's searching for help, because she might even be considering abortion, if she sees a baby swaddled in a blanket, she's probably going to just click right past your website. So you want to keep your logo looking something simple, something that represents your center well. Some people want to include a little bit about where the area that they live in, possibly in their logo, but keeping it simple. And even if you offer medical services, keeping it straightforward like you would on a medical website. If you're going to a medical center or a doctor's office and you look at their logos, they're not over the top, they're not busy, they don't have a lot of extra to them. They're just straightforward.
Exactly. That's great advice. And we do encourage clients to think beyond maybe the obvious, which would be that mom and baby imagery. We encourage clients to think outside of the box. What is a logo or an element that might tie into your local area, such as your state flower or an organic symbolism of your area? Think of something soothing, something that would be engaging to the client and not scare her away right off the bat with overwhelming her with pictures of babies and moms and pregnancy and things of that nature. We do know that it's really hard sometimes when a logo has been in place for decades even to depart from that and to do a redesign. And so if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to our team. Branding is something that we'll dive into a little bit more as we develop more podcasts. So you want to have a clean design, an engaging design, a clear call to action that can be found easily. You want to make sure that your information can be found easily and quickly, that she's not having to dig through your website to find your location or your hours or your phone number. Those are all really important aspects that make up the user experience. And so those are all part of the front end of your website. Now, Tim, you work a lot on the back end of websites, and part of that is the three-letter term SEO. Can you tell us in lay terms what SEO stands for and what SEO hopes to accomplish and why a center should invest in SEO treatment on their site?
Sure. SEO is an acronym for search engine optimization. And as that name implies, what we're doing is, you're optimizing your website for those search engines, Google, and then to a lesser extent, things like Yahoo, Bing, but Google being the primary search engine that you're really trying to optimize for. There's more than just putting your content on your site. There's ways that your content can be structured, can be written, that you can have a better chance at ranking in searches. Having your website not just with the quality content, but going back to some of those design elements, having a quality, clean design that's easy to flow through and whatnot can actually benefit your search engine optimization. Google is a business, just like the other search engines. They're a business and they're serving customers. And so if they're going to send one of their customers to your site, they want to make sure that the customer is going to get, number one, what they need, what they're looking for. Number two, that they're going to have a good experience. And so Google looks at more than just the text on your site. They're looking at the layout. They're looking to make sure it's mobile friendly, and that it'll appear well on, phones, tablets, which, many of our users are coming from. They're going to look for relevancy. They want to make sure that your content actually makes sense for what's being searched. So that kind of ties into a content strategy as far as, copywriting, writing up your content, and that kind of thing. But past that, there's also performance things. You want to make sure you have a website that performs well, that actually loads fairly quickly, particularly again when you're talking about mobile devices that may not have extremely fast internet here and there. You want to make sure it performs well. You want to make sure that you're using imagery and files that aren't extremely massive. Those are all things that tie into a search engine optimization strategy for the website itself.
A lot of times it can be an intimidating product because it can be a pricey product. When you go to a marketing company and you get pricing for an advanced SEO product, it can be a premium product that's rather expensive.
Right.
What are some of the results that a center can expect from the product from SEO that would give them a return on that investment?
So with SEO, when you're talking about doing an SEO subscription or hiring a marketing company to do SEO for you, expectations should be set by the company. They should be able to give you some kind of idea because there can be something anywhere from a lower end SEO package or subscription to something higher end. But the bottom line is what you should expect from it is more visits to your website, and then in turn, more conversions from visitors into contacts or clients and whatnot. The ultimate goal of any SEO strategy is going to be getting more relevant visitors. That doesn't mean that you just want anybody you possibly can to access your website. You want quality, relevant visitors. So they'll employ strategies that will help you appear in relevant search results. Women that are looking for pregnancy help, things related to unexpected pregnancy, particularly in your area, focusing on some geographical things so that you're not pulling clients in from 6 counties away or 2 states away or something like that. So ultimately, the goal needs to be more access to your website, more engagement from folks, and more clients and contacts in the very end.
Now, a product that we recommend to go hand in hand with SEO and with the front end engagement and user experience for your clients or potential clients is blogging. Tim, can you kind of unpack for us why blogging is so important? It's something that's been around for a while, so
Right.
it seemed like a slightly outdated term. But why is it important for your website to have a blog and active content?
Well, like what I mentioned before, when we're talking about relevancy, search engines, and when I say search engines, I'm probably primarily going to be referring to Google. They're looking for relevant content on a web page to link to a search term. Again, if it's something that makes sense with the search term that the user is going for, and it's particularly somewhere close to them, then that's key there. So having a blog gives you opportunities to have more pages indexed, more opportunities for relevant content for Google to say, hey, this fits what you're looking for. Let's slide this in here. Having a blog is an easy way to get additional content. You don't want to have a million pages on your website because that's just confusing. If you just start, stuffing page after page after page on your website, that's going to be a turnoff for some users, especially when you're going for that, simple to find. These people have blinders on, they want to access the information they need. If they put a drop down menu, click on one, and it's 20 pages, that's overwhelming. A blog gives you an opportunity to have all of that content, all of those different pages in a structured way that's normal, that's expected by people. When they go to a blog, they expect to see 20, 30, or however many articles. And if those articles are talking about something that makes sense to them, that's relevant to them, all the better. So blogging can be really good from a search engine perspective. Again, it's more opportunities for relevance. It also shows that your website is active, which Google does like to see that. They don't like to see, I mentioned that set it and forget it mentality that there was for a while. I've seen centers really have a lot more success with websites that they're actively engaging with, changing things around. And one of the best ways to do that is blogging. Another benefit that blogging does is it shows you as a point of authority on some of these topics. So if a woman is going there and they see that you guys are blogging about pregnancy testing and various things that are relevant to their situation, then that just gives you more of an authoritative, voice on it. And it can lead to better trust and lead to, more contacts and whatnot. So blogging really can do a number of different, or offer rather, a number of different benefits.
Thanks, Tim. So, really, what makes up our websites are a front end experience. The user experience needs to be easy to navigate with a clear call to action, a simple and yet engaging logo and colors that match our branding and our mission and our vision, and are all geared towards that target client that we are trying to reach. We need to be sure that the information that is pertinent to her is on the website and easily found. So, our contact information, our hours, our location, and all of the things that she would need to take that next step to go beyond the website and go to making an appointment or calling us or chatting with us, whatever that call to action might be on our site. And then on the back end, we need to be sure that our SEO is built up, that our ranking is being lifted by that SEO, and then having interactive content on our site, like a blog. Another interactive tool that Extend offers is a pregnancy test quiz. We know that a lot of Gen Zs, millennials, whoever it might be that you're trying to reach, are very much attracted to quizzes. And so when the question arises, am I pregnant? Might I be pregnant? A quiz is an easy and quick way to engage her. So Extend and Option Line have developed a quiz that is both engaging and directs her to that clear call to action to call or make an appointment. And that's another tool that you can have on your website if you're an Extend customer, or you could create your own quiz if you're so inclined to do so. Just looking for those engaging tools that are going to capture her attention and get her to interact with you online is really important. So you've got your SEO in place, your blog, perhaps a quiz or some other interactive tool. And all this makes up a great client site, a great user experience, and is really paramount to your marketing foundation. With that, though, one of the most key elements of your website is to be mobile friendly. And so we don't want to neglect to mention that, because I know, Tim, you mentioned it a little earlier. Most of our users are going to be on a mobile device when they're finding us. So can you just kind of talk to the importance of being a mobile friendly, mobile responsive website?
I should touch on those two terms. So mobile friendly and mobile responsive. You're going to hear both those terms. Mobile friendly is just a general term saying your website is friendly to mobile devices. It can be accessed well on mobile devices. It is set up for those. And that can come in one of two ways. It's either a mobile specific website or having a mobile responsive website. And what responsive means is this: you have a single website that the content, the layout, and everything on that website adjusts as the screen size adjusts. So if you have a website that, it looks great on desktop, but then, whenever you pull it up on a phone and you just have that desktop view, everything's really hard to click on. It's really small and nothing really works. Whereas with a mobile responsive website, as that screen shrinks onto a more mobile layout, things start to stack on top of each other, buttons and text and whatnot enlarge. Everything just adjusts in a way to where it looks well and fully functional on a mobile device. And that's kind of led to something called mobile first development when you're talking about websites, which means a lot of folks will actually design the website for mobile, and then they'll expand it to make sure it also works on a desktop or computer screen, because just like, our industry, most industries are seeing that mobile is where the majority of their users are coming from. Most people, they're out and about, they're pulling things up on their phone, their tablet, what have you. And so having a website that functions well on a mobile device is critical. That's actually one of Google's largest factors when it's deciding whether to rank a website is, can it be accessed on a mobile device? Is the mobile version of the site, does it function well? Can people, navigate around the site well? Are buttons large enough to click on? They'll actually, they can give you a report on that stuff, like, hey, your buttons are too small or things are too close together. If someone were to touch this, they might accidentally touch that. So you can actually be penalized by Google for not having a mobile friendly website.
Yeah, and that's only going to increase
Mhm.
more and more. And we've all been there. We've all pulled up a website and it looks terrible on mobile. And what do? We bounce. We just don't spend any time there. Don't bother
Yep.
wasting our time trying to navigate a site that looks terrible on mobile. So definitely make sure that as you're building this really amazing, interactive, easy to navigate site, that it's not just easy to navigate on desktop. Make sure it's mobile friendly and reaches that target audience. Again, always thinking of who you're trying to reach and building things for her. Jennifer, a question that we get a lot is, do I need two websites? Meaning, do I need a client site and a donor site? And we have very specific advice on this, but can you kind of speak to that and why it is important that centers consider having two sites?
One of the big things that we talk about all the time when it comes to websites is knowing your audience. And your audience is completely different with a client facing site than it is with a supporter facing site. A supporter facing site, you're trying to reach out to your supporters, your donors. You want to find those that are wanting to support the work that you do in your community, that want to support the moms and families that come to see you. Where you want to advertise maybe your walk for life or your annual gala or your banquet, and things like that. Your client facing site is where you want your clients to find you, where her burning questions that she has about, what do I do? I'm facing an unplanned pregnancy. Should I have an abortion? Should I carry my pregnancy? What support's out there? So it's completely different content. And to combine the two could be really confusing if a client comes to your website looking for information about potentially abortion procedures, or somewhere to come for free pregnancy tests, or somewhere to come for free STI testing, and she sees advertisements about something like a walk for life. She's going to be more than a little confused, more than likely. So we want to keep those separate. Know your audience and tailor your site to your audience.
Absolutely. It gives you more real estate as well to reach out to your donors, because your donors are an extremely important audience and they're online and they're wanting to engage with you online. And so it's critically important to have that site that's specifically built for them and has the pages that they're looking for and the opportunities they're looking for, and of course that all important donate button. So definitely consider if your budget allows to have two sites. It's going to give you a lot more flexibility in your messaging, a lot more opportunity to engage with each of your audiences in a more appropriate way. So you've got these amazing sites in place, whether it be your client site, donor site, or both, and you are launching them and they're out there, right? So they're doing their thing, they're performing well, they're engaging the right audiences and reaching women in need. How soon should you start to plan for a redesign? Because we know that things that are on the internet expire very quickly and that technology is speeding up so fast. And so we want to keep up with the latest technology. We want to keep up with the latest trends and make sure that we're not falling behind. I know it's a lot of work, and a lot of centers find it very overwhelming to try and keep their websites up to date and make sure that they're fresh and current. So, Tim, what do you suggest for a center who has a limited staff and a limited budget to be projecting for a site redesign or refresh?
Yeah, I typically, we want to see something between 18 and 36 months. So, something around every 2 years, 2 or 3 years is going to be uh, generally okay for you. Um, yeah, as you mentioned, technologies are always changing, trends are changing, and you just don't want to get stuck in something where your website is dated, not just from a technology standpoint, but from a layout perspective, from a design perspective. You want to make sure that you're keeping up with what's going on, what people are expecting when they visit a website, especially our younger target audience. They have certain expectations that we need to meet. So I would say make sure you're getting a full redesign every 2 to 3 years, and make sure that between that you're doing updates to your content, updates to your design or features here and there if something becomes relevant.
Very good. And again, that can be an overwhelming process, but it's a process that's worth your time and your energy. Don't neglect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't neglect to have a site that's out there and just aging and not being updated and not current and not trend, keeping up with the trends. It's not enough just to launch your site and let it ride. It will not yield the same results down the road as it does when it initially launches. And so keep in
Mhm.
mind that you do need to be paying attention to your site. Analytics is an important tool to measure the success of your site. Tim, can you review the analytics that are most important when tracking the success of your site? Because we've heard of, vanity metrics, and we don't want to track vanity metrics, but what are the important analytics that we should be tracking?
So the primary ones that you're going to look at from a simplistic perspective are going to be your sessions, and then your users and your views. So your sessions is going to make up how many actual user sessions have been on your website. And it's not to be confused with the users number, because the users is going to be the number of individual unique users you've had your sessions. One user may have multiple sessions on your site. So you want to look at those. And then your views is just your page views. How many folks have gone around on your page? How many, again, one user in one session may view multiple pages. So those are the primary things you want to look at. You can also look at your event count, which is going to show how many actions were taken on your site. But it just kind of the universal things are going to be sessions, users, and views. Your marketing company may have specific metrics they want you to look at based on some strategies they're putting in place. But if you aren't working with a marketing company right now, or if you're just trying to get a kind of very quick overall, how am I doing? Those are the three primary things you need to be looking at.
So don't neglect to look at your analytics. Again, it is a
Mhm.
very important tool to measuring the success of your site and to knowing how well your site is doing and who your site is reaching and how engaged the users are on your site. Again, when we measure the success of a marketing tool, we always want to consider what is the goal of that tool. So if it's to have a lot of conversions, your traffic might be a little lower because you're driving quality and not necessarily quantity. So keep that in mind as you're looking at your analytics. Always keep, of course, that client in your mind. Always keep the goal of the marketing tool that you're measuring in the forefront of your consideration as you're measuring the success of a tool. So thanks so much for joining us today. As always, we are just honored and privileged to serve the pregnancy help movement. You all are the heroes on the front line, and so we are amazed at the work that you're doing, and it's a privilege to partner with you. If you have any questions, as always, we're here for you. You can reach out to us. Support@extendwebservices.com is the best way to get a hold of us. And we are here for you to answer questions, whether you're an Extend customer or not. We just want to ensure that all pregnancy centers have success in their marketing. And so if you need to have a conversation, just don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks again for tuning into the Marketing Minute, and we'll be back next month with another conversation about Google Ads, so don't miss it.